Well, I apologize for being about 4 minutes late. And that I can blame on my job. So, D-Rock, how you doing?
All right.
That's good to hear.
Have you,
But,
you started yet or no?
yeah, I did. I popped on live.
God damn it. Ugh.
Sorry.
I gotta do it. Son of a bitch.
Okay, let me see if I can find. Have you talked to Blaine?
I have not.
Okay. Let me see if I can summon him. I summon thee.
I've been dealing with Comcast, so yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Shit happens. There we go. RPG. Why did you not do that? Yep.
Hi, Shadzar. Hello, Pope Chewbacca Cabras the Fourth. I don't know if Shadzar's in here. He was here probably at 7:30. A lot of people in the Legion of Myth and other places have problems with me, and I've noticed that me and Shadzar are kind of like we can get along pretty well. So I've got no problem with him being in my chats or streams. How was everybody today? Hopefully you can hear me better.
Oh, I can hear you just fine. I'm just trying to get all my shit together.
Okay. Yeah, I just zoomed home and
This is the advantage of having 6 screens.
until that electrical bill comes.
Nah, it's fine. Forget about it.
So let's see. Same link. Okay.
Leave.
So, remember back in 1999 before we met, what it was like to be a D&D player? That's what tonight is kind of based on. We had a convention of GMs last night at the Gatekeepers, which I don't mind having players in that, but most of the time, if I'm talking to players, I'm in danger of hearing about, oh my god, my 5th edition character is so cool. Not what I want to hear. Hey, LDG. Geeks enjoy. Now, Garrett, you're echoing this on Twitch, right?
Well, I'm trying to. I'm just trying to figure out why it's being stupid. Text may conflict with Twitch. Whatever. Copy. Pasta.
How's LDG doing tonight? How's Chewbacca or the Wookiee Supremacy doing? Garrett, your tech issues with Twitch, is it based on your server or what's going on there?
No, it's stupidity. That's all I can say. It's just Twitch being Twitch. Is what it is. Now, live.
The Shadzar says that you are not live.
I know. I'm working on that. Shush! Silence!
You need a Scottish engineer to help you out.
I'll throw weird things at you. Yeah, you don't want me to start throwing fuzzy, what is it? What was I going to say? Fuzzy Jello at people. I just want you to take a minute to think about how bad the Jello has to be fuzzy.
Hey, M. Dastardly's in. Hello, good sir. How are you?
Okay.
Give you another minute to get that sorted out. Usually we do this before we pregame, but Bruce, I was zooming down Interstate 10 at speed that I shouldn't talk about. Whew, Kai is here. Hello, Blaine.
Hey, good to hear you.
Oh my God, he has a camera too. Holy
It's
shit.
oldie. It's about a decade old, but it works.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be. I could use my old Gateway stick microphone and it'd be fine.
Well, that works. I mean, I got some old gamer microphone headset, so there we go.
I kind of like the old gamer microphone headsets. I'm weird like that. Okay. Last night we had a big discussion about house rules and what constitutes going from house rule to it's going to be a continuous table rule. And then the strange morphing when it morphs from a table or house rule and you see it in print.
Mm-hmm.
So, sir, I would say that everything kind of changed for me in 1999. That's why I wanted to discuss it all. And I bring you guys here because I met up with you two about 8 years later, about 6 to 7 years later, maybe. And I wanted to bring it to light where how our game tables have changed since that time. Now, mind you, there's still a lot of people out there that play second edition or first edition or BECME or BX, any one of the early editions of D&D, pre-WotC bullshit, that are very easily interchangeable.
Okay.
Blaine, I know you just popped in, but I'm going to put you in the seat. How did your table change whenever third edition came around? Did you immediately adopt it? Did you start going, oh, I can't wait to play this? Or we're going to continue this campaign with the rule set I got?
Well, it caught us like right in this weird pot because right before third edition, they threw out this wonderful book, the Diablo 2 role-playing game.
What? Let me bring out. Let me parade. I think I have some of these. I used to have a box set which had some maps.
Oh yeah, that thing right there.
Yeah. Here's the rules for how to make a Diablo 2 character with 3.0 D&D.
Also known as D&D 3.0 before we had 3.0 rules. And the thing was we had already been playing in second edition with all the player's option rules. So we had already gotten used to the idea of having all of the fun that was player's options. And then came the Diablo 3 rules, and we were like, well, this was an easy transition. So by this point, we had already been moving away from what we consider to be core AD&D second edition because, well, we liked having options, lots of options, and it made the game more interesting. And we just moved forward. So when third edition happened, well, we just kind of dropped second, and everyone's like, let's try the new rules. And since we jumped in, and suddenly you gave us now the ability to have random loot tables that were amazing, character options that weren't just simply, I am a third level fighter, I can do my attack this round. And it got better. So for us, everyone kind of jumped on the idea of this was a natural transition for us to be more than what we were playing. And because like I said, we had already seen what was in the pipe and went, this is how we kind of wanted to be, because at this point we had already gotten so tired of what we had been playing. But we were also, in 99, 17, 18 years old, and most of us had only been playing second for 4 to 6 years. So it wasn't for us we hadn't been like, oh, I had been playing this game since, the great Primarch Gygax showed up and gave us the Pope's dissertation on what gaming must be, and we hadn't been playing for 20-something years. We'd already been playing in the post-Gygax era. So for us, it was fine.
Okay. Garrett, are you available? Or are you on the pooper 20 foot away from the microphone?
I believe he's...
Okay, he's in mid-loaf.
My apologies for just rambling right then.
You're good. Hey, grumpy old Ninja Kintaro. Indigo Dragon. I felt the same way about THACO. Only because I saw this very superior game mechanic compared to about every other RPG in the industry at the time. Yeah.
I had to go to the library. It's in my basement.
Garrett, 1999, did your table really change with the booklets, the releases from Wizards? What all happened at your table?
And truthfully, I came in during the 3035. So I really didn't have any preconceived things with 2 and, the basics, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, for me, 3.0 was my thing. It's kind of like, to use the analogy of Doctor Who. The first doctor you watch is always going to be your doctor.
Mine is Tom Baker.
Exactly. Mine also. But, in talking about that, there was also some really cool things that came out of, with 3035, like with AGE.
Mm-hmm.
These little pamphlets, the little adventures. You just
$4.
Yep.
Enough for
a couple bucks. Night. Yeah, one shots. So then you came up, and every time Bruce sees these, he shudders. I'm sure he does not remember until now that I have these, but then you have these
one for psionics and another one for magic items.
Yeah, psionics doesn't work. But yeah, you've got things like that. And then there was one that we talked about last night. This is mainly what I went downstairs for.
Oh, God, that book.
That book. Yeah. This book.
The book I'm going to say was D&D did not deserve that book.
I'm going to say that I pretty much like...
I love this setting.
No, I love it. But the problem here is that it's almost too good for Dungeons and Dragons. It really needs its own dedicated game engine. That's more. There's just so much to it, and that's just.
I didn't bring that upstairs. They've actually swapped it over to Monty's new system, which is Cypher. I went to Gen Con this year. I happened to pick up the Cypher core book along with the Patolis for Cypher, and a lot of times you have the bigger guys, you look at WotC, things like that. They send representatives. They don't send the people that actually write the shit. Bruce Cordell was sitting there explaining how the system worked and going through things with people at the tables there in the hall. And for me, that was I was on the fence about it, but when Bruce was there, I stood back and listened for a bit. And the thing is too is that it's not like I'm just hawking my wares, here you want to buy this, right? The passion in his voice was just like would make the hairs on my arms stand up just with the amount of passion he was putting into this. So I mean, and that's the other thing to look at is the when you get systems like the Ptolus, Arcana Evolved that goes along with that you can tell the passion in these books, and even with 3.0 and 3.5, the passion that Monty and the other writers put into those books with what they were trying to do. And I think that's one thing that's been missing for quite a while. Actually, I think since the Abomination, the last one of 3.5, that no DM in his right mind will allow at the table, the Book of Nine Swords.
Not my favorite WotC project.
Well, and that was the very last book. Remember, before they went into fourth ed,
and
so they were kind of
4E test.
Yeah, that they were kind of giving you a taste. It's like, here, let's see. Okay,
like players' options.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of things in there that was kind of cool, but I mean, but going back, overall is with me, I didn't really notice that big of a change just because of I didn't have the pre notions, I guess, or the preconceptions of when I walked into
the entire game of the entire book of Ptolus. Now Blaine will say the controversial statement that D&D doesn't deserve it, but that entire book was Monty's. Monty Cook is the first D&D developer that I know of that got to write his dream project and publish it.
Yes.
And I mean, when you have a big dream, it's impressive. It's even cooler to do it. And that book, what is that page count on that, Garrett?
1, 2, 3, 4, lots.
Shadzar, you're talking about Skip Williams there.
670.
No. Shadzar, he did the skill system for the player's guide, if I remember right. And he had just come out of Iron Crown Enterprises. And so that's why 3.0 feels a lot like an old Rollmaster D20 version. But that Ptolus book is probably one of the coolest campaign books that a person could pick up. Because you have a history, you have factions, you have DM notes in the sidebars, you have so many extras for Ptolus. There's a DVD that came with it that had 2 full campaign journals. You had everything a person could need if you were going to run a city that would allow everything from first to epic level.
There's the side view.
Yes. Yeah.
The thing here is that there's so much in that book. Sorry,
What?
there's.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah. That right there, that gives you an idea, and that's what Monty wrote to do his third ed test. Go ahead, Kai, or Blaine.
Well, what I was meaning here is the book is written in such a way with it's almost system agnostic, where I know I eluded that book for like 3 other game engines. The factions, the tower, the maps, all of it, it really does. If you know how another game engine works, all that material is just completely playable in any other game engine. It's such a good resource. But the thing is that that's why I say that in a game where, look at the average player group, they're not going to comprehend the sheer scale of what's given to you in that book.
Yes.
Most of them are just like, okay, there's a guild. Okay, cool. There's some houses. Okay, cool. Where do I go off to go kill something? And that's what the majority of most D&D players are at. And that's why I like this book really deserves to be more neutral and available for anyone who wants to use this in any other engine or system, because it's just too much good RP material that's being wasted on the usual adventuring party.
Indigo Dragon, you're right. He did write the DMG. Okay. Then he wrote Alternity. Yeah, Lorraine Williams wanted to make Buck Rogers. She's a heir to that. We understand her and Buck Rogers.
Alternity, what's a good game?
I didn't get a chance to play much of it. You know what it reminded me of was a better version of Tabletop Alpha Centauri. You had an option to do that if you had a good GM. We had a good GM, but he had 13 people sign up for his table.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Lorraine would throw out money to Monty, and that's pretty much what happened. Watsy hired Monty out of ICE, and he started making Tolus as a test bed for 3rd edition. He used that entire city from first to high level. And I don't know how high his characters got. I think it was like 20th or maybe 19th. But you can read the campaign journals if you have the DVD, or there's places on the web where you can read them because people have uploaded them. They're all right. They're good bones to pick up a D&D campaign if you need to write a campaign for Tolus or any other city, with a lot of interesting places that are already detailed because you worked 60 hours a week. And that's what I liked about Tolus. I'm not going to say I'm worshiping Monty Cook. I am going to say he wrote a great book.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't long after, it was like 2005 or 6 where Monty's personal life came crashing down. And I don't really care. No, it was 2007-ish. I don't really care because like that was all his. The onus is on him. He's a man. Admit your mistakes, push forward. And it looks like he did. He got the Cypher system going. Sean K. Reynolds is with him. Not one of my favorite people. I don't like that guy, really. But Monty wrote Tolus so he could have a place for his players to play. And he could have a place to test out weird concepts for a game system that they basically wanted from the ground up something new. Yep, then he wrote, hold on, Garrett. Then he wrote this, which is
it's because Indigo put that in there, so I figured that was one of the ones I grabbed.
There was a couple campaigns that Monty ran using the players out of that, using classes out of that, and the races. Which actually that was more buff and beefy than the 3.5 characters, but it's actually on par with the Advanced Players Guide stuff. Advanced Race Guide stuff from Pathfinder. So if you guys can pick up a copy of Arcana Evolved, you're not going to have a bad table.
And it's not necessarily, doing the whole fanboy thing and whatnot. It is, if someone writes something that I really enjoy, I'm gonna say that I really enjoyed it. It's like, there's a set of books, Monster Hunter International, Larry Carrera. I absolutely love that series. And I've sat and read those books, a couple times over now. And I mean, it's just a one of those things that if I find something that I really like, and especially if someone puts the passion behind it, which and that's the only reason I pointed out is because Bruce was there and he had that passion, which you don't see anymore in a lot of the gaming companies.
They exist, but they're in smaller companies now.
Yeah, exactly. They are the smaller companies. They're not like the WotC, the GW.
I mean, WotC's soulless, and so's GW. So
True.
ISO, WotC, GW. You get to a certain point, and I think it just all falls apart. I really do.
And truthfully, I really did enjoy Gen Con this year because 90% of the big names didn't even show up. The only big name that was there was GW with Warhammer. Everybody else was smaller companies, and it also gave them a huge spotlight.
The companies that I know of are going to small cons like North Texas RPG Con, Gamehole, things like that. Egyptian Campaign. They're looking for something that's within like 60 to 90 minutes drive time, and they can find a reasonably priced hotel. They don't want to go somewhere where they have to pay $300 because, it's Dragon Con. Well, fuck me.
oh yeah.
Nobody wants to do that, especially when the economy's in shithole that it is. Oh, by the way, this is an R-rated stream. If you're under 13 years of age, you better get your parents' permission. And
Oh, good.
Mom, thank you.
And
We use spicy language. Oh, good.
And on Twitch, you do have to be 18 or over for mine.
Yeah, Shadzard is following up on something I said in D&D, Advanced D&D Second Edition. You did not really have skills as an integral part of the game, but in Rollmaster and Ice, you'll take 2 hours, 3 hours to get your skills set up for one character, which it's really not a fun process.
No.
Those detailed systems are fun to play, but your character mortality, it'll take you forever to create a new character to replace your high level one. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Kelsey Danger follow you around and destroy you as part of the patriarchy? That's funny.
No.
I went to Dragon Con in '93. I had fun, and I saw the girl with the lion skin, or I saw a girl cosplaying as a fur bikini barbarian chick. And so I had my proper 18-year-old indoctrination. Then off to the military I went, like 5 days later. I almost missed Thaco, almost. I don't really care if Thaco or positive. I don't care. I just need the dice and the player to jive so I can get a resolution. Did you hit? What's the damage? Or did you miss?
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, that's what a lot of times is what it comes down to. I know that I made the comment of I do enjoy the role play ROLE as opposed to the dice role play, but the dice also are there to help you tell the story because and it goes back to what you said last night, Bruce. For those that weren't here on last night's stream, is that it is about the doing of the dice helping them tell a story. The heroes, and that's what they're supposed to be, is heroes. Live or die by the dice. And that's how it should be. The dice set you up in order to help further the story, and then them also doing like investigations of things, stuff like that, which is more of the ORLE play.
The problem is that sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say that unfortunately the game engine itself doesn't really support that very well, because while we have this fantastic combat engine that has so many things you can do and so many variations on how to do it, when it comes to the engine supporting, so if you want to support the ROLL and the hack and slash part of the game, the game supports you everywhere. But the problem is the game collapses on itself when you try to support the ROLE part of the game. So it's like investigation. You have a single skill. Okay. You want to deceive somebody. You have a single skill. Meanwhile, combat, there's just 18,000 ways to go at it. All your spells are 3/4 of them are geared towards how to obliterate something and then move on with your day. And so that's why I always have this problem with just D&D in general, is always this whole, oh, cool, we're in the talky talk part, and it's really cool, and that's where all the fun's at. But the engine and your class kind of melts away. So if you're not playing the face of the group, you're just sitting in the background, kind of drooling on yourself, and maybe rolling a support check until somebody says roll initiative, and then the fun starts for everyone else. And the game is all built around that. And since, well, my stats aren't geared towards my ability to hack and to talk, so I'm just going to stand in the background and pick my nose. And, oh, cool. Or I'm bored, I'm going to cause problems. And so that way we can roll initiative. And I guess I just don't like the idea of, well, the dice facilitate. Okay, it facilitates 1-2 people moving the plot forward until a GM or the player gets bored and goes, screw it, combat time. Now we're going to spend the next 4 hours rolling dice. Meanwhile, I wait for the role playing to come back and go, okay, cool. Wake me up when we get back to actual the story.
I gotta put this up there. That
is how.
Yep.
Go ahead, Kai.
That is how most trolls feel, but the thing is that every class is open the book and look at your class. What does the fighter do? I thunk, I crunk, I smash something. Every class does that except for so who's the talky person? The bard, the rogue, the paladin if you want to have no fun. Everyone else is kind of like, well, sorry, because I had to point by my character, all I gotta do is just simply, I'm sorry, I had to dump charisma. My intelligence is too high. I don't have a lot of support skills because I want to be able to ride a horse. Or I don't want to die out in the woods. Or, hey, Druid, what do? I turned into a squirrel. Okay, cool. What else do you do? Nothing. I like plants. And as somebody who likes to role play, who likes to play the in-depth political intrigue, looking at your class and having, well, shoot, I could, if I want to dump all my points into being the smart, intelligent, talking, charismatic individual, I could honestly play whatever class I want, and it doesn't really matter because the game engine is so towards anything that isn't there, because every class is always built towards, well, I guess my answer to the problem is it's killing a clock. Time to roll initiative. And that's the game.
Damn it.
What?
No, that was kind of what it was like for my table, because we were playing Forgotten Realms at the time, and we were going through a bad period because in Decatur, of course, we had another gaming store closed. So I had to run from where I lived into Springfield, another 30 miles.
Yeah.
Game. Well, I found a gaming store, immediately caught a table, said AD&D Second Edition Player's Handbook, and that was it. And then at around third level, I started bringing in the brown books for running Forgotten Realms. The game store owner let me buy a box set and hang the maps up in his store. And then when I came back the next week, he had laminated them, which I thought, well, that was great. And we played there for about 3 years. And that lasted until his divorce. Don't ever leave your miniatures at a gaming store.
No, that's how I lost like a third of my collection. So yeah.
Didn't Niles pick yours up?
Nope. A lot of my miniatures disappeared. I vanished. I vanished one day. So yeah.
Okay. I thought Niles returned a package of miniatures to you at one point.
No, I'm still missing all my BattleTech miniatures. All of my there's a lot that's missing from those days.
Okay. God, Max would have a cow if he heard you say BattleTech. What do you play? What clan? So
Wolverine. True answer, Comstar. Thank you very much.
Comstar wasn't bad.
Yeah, Comstar's the real heroes.
Mm-hmm. So when we were playing in 1999, and they said convert your D&D to the 3rd edition, and WotC gave us this little pamphlet before Diablo 2 got released, and it had a conversion guide of how the bonuses from ability scores were changed.
Yeah.
And if you had an 18 double lot strength, now it's a 24 strength.
I remember that book.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
So everybody brings out their old 2nd edition characters and converts them to 3rd ed. And we're running, I ran out of like 5 or 6 dungeon magazines for like about 3 months in 99. And everybody was having fun with that. Except for me, I didn't really realize how the system was so stupidly simple. There you go, Chadzar. You can clip that.
It's stupidly simple.
It was stupidly if you couldn't get 3rd edition, like, I have no hope for you.
Honestly, there was a joke that one of my friends had. It's like I'm running from my local, my in-house group that was at that time, and one of my friends who had just came back from Seattle, he was in the house going, "So what are you still playing?" "I'm still running 3.5," and he goes, "You need to make a character?" And I'm like, "Sure." He's like, "Bleh, there you go." And like 5 seconds later, he had a character built. And it's like, because the game's legitimately, I don't know, what's my character? How many points do I have? Oh, I'm playing a melee character. High strength, don't care about dex. Good con, don't care about anything else. Cool, I'm ready. And I'm like, God damn, is it really that easy to make a character? He goes, if you don't give a crap, yes. And I'm like, God damn it. So you're just a token character. He goes, I'm a big freaking beat stick. He goes, I don't know. Do you mean me a beat stick or a shoot stick? And I'm like, could you be a spell stick? And he's like, okay, changes 2 stats around. And oh, hey, look, now I'm a spellcaster. Okay, fantastic. Wow, this game is such an amazing game. I love it to death. Considering how long I played it, yes, I do.
But yeah, and then you also have, and Bruce and I both had a couple people at our table that did this. They would come in literally with the spreadsheet with everything they're going to take all the way up to like level 40.
Oh God, I hate them.
DM does.
I hate them. My best friend does it, and I hate it. And he inspires everybody else to do it too, and I'm just like, stop it now.
Hey, Eddie Lamar. Sorry that you left. Chadzar says, no misconception. Gary tried to rewrite it and redefine it in 95. Parrothead says, meat shields are important.
They are.
Chadzar, again, invites Hetty, which I appreciate. I don't take my minis to stores because damn kids cannot keep their dick beaters off things that belong to them.
True.
God damn it, that's too true. I have a one-armed lictor because of that. Sorry.
I have yeah. I have a dragon missing. I'm missing a wing.
Multi-gun man. Never played D&D. Was it hard to catch on to? Not at all, sir. And after 3rd edition, it was made very simple for 2nd graders because 4th graders were doing well with the THACO, as we call it. But 3rd ed made things to where you can just use simple addition or income tax math, and you can play it very easy. Yeah, easy is playing what if game. That's basically it. What if you were Frodo and had to do something wondering, what would you do? Okay, thanks. Let's get into it. Cal says, I'm here. Sheds our waves. Just ignore 5th edition, it'll be safe. I would say ignore 5th edition. There are good DMs out there that run anything just to get a table. And
That's true.
We know a few of them.
I've been that guy.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of 5e, but I'm sure my friends would play it if it was available. They have to be pinned into damn Pathfinder.
Well, and truthfully, the Stargate one that I played at Gen Con, it is actually based on the open license for 5th. But they of course they put their own twist on things. I think there's only one thing I don't like, which is like the chase mechanic. It makes no sense because once it ends, nothing really happens. It's like I don't understand why it's even in there. But basically, I mean, and it was actually fairly straightforward and actually fun. So I mean, and it's based off of the OGL for 5th. So
I don't know. After how the OGL got ruined by WotC with 3rd, I don't trust anything coming with 5th. So yeah.
I didn't like. Okay, well, I'm not popular yet. That's why.
yes, but I do have a click button.
Yeah,
You don't have to be popular on Twitch to get it.
that's kind of nice about Twitch. I will say that's their one strength. I don't like Twitch's EULA, which I'm really not liking YouTube's new EULA, which is a copy paste of Twitch's EULA.
Mm-hmm.
Can't talk bad about DSP anymore. There goes my views.
Aww.
Although it was kind of funny because there was Rise of the Rune Lords popped up on my YouTube front page today.
Mine?
Yes.
Wow.
Watch it again, and I think it had like 4.5 thousand views or something like that.
Yeah, there's a couple of them that got some good views. The time I killed Zine, our first episode. All right.
I think I might be the only person on the planet who has not played or touched Rise of the Rune Lords. So
I will say that Paizo, it's their crowning achievement. It is their crowning achievement. That's their best thing they've ever done. Better than Pathfinder, First Ed, much better than Pathfinder, Second Ed. Rise of the Rune Lords takes you back to almost being in Zastam's dungeon in a black box and gives you all the iconic beats up to high level, if you so choose to play it. It is
until you get to the top of the mountain, you get smashed in the second round.
Man, the thing is
by
that
the dragon.
But the thing is, Kingmaker existed, and that was what ate all my attention. So
actually, no, Kingmaker came out after it.
I know, but when it came to, I run my own stuff, and therefore, when it came time to like run something that was actually published by somebody else, I'm an empire builder. I like running kingdoms and massive empires. So giving me all the tools to run a kingdom, that was the best thing in the universe for me. So that managed to shake me up from my, oh, so what do you do? Everyone else was like, I'm playing an adventure module, and it's called this. I'm like, okay, obviously if 10,000 people at a store are going, this is the best thing in the universe, I'm going to ignore it. And then suddenly someone goes, empire building in a book, and I'm like, give me that. Give me that. It's like Birthright all over again. The best module nobody plays. Give me that.
Dude, I would love to play Birthright. I would go back to second ed, skills and options, or combat and tactics, and the original AD&D second ed, or the black book second ed. I don't care.
Mhm.
I'd do that and play Birthright, because Birthright's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And for me, that's what Kingmaker was like, it's Birthright minus all the cool powers you get from being being the Lord of the Realm. Okay, cool. I can live without that. And it was a fun thing. And so when Ultimate Campaign arrived, I'm like, where have you been my entire life? This is what I needed to play with. And so therefore I can now sit down my players and go, okay, everybody, we're going to play Dungeons and Dragons Civilization Edition. And I could plot them down on a map and go, all right, guys, this is your guys' village. Build, conquer, encounter my neighboring powers I'm creating for you, and establish your own dominion. You don't need any form of actual published material from people who... Why do we give any allegiance to these people who live somewhere distant? Because why? They're nothing better than we are. Create your own stories, guys, and then watch them all drool in the corner as like the one player who goes, finally, I'm going to be able to create my own fantasy empire.
Yeah. Well, and I will say the what was that one? Second Darkness? Is that the one, Bruce?
Yeah.
That we were playing. It was fun. It was fun until you get to the last third of the adventure, because then it becomes a rinse repeat choo-choo train.
Yeah,
it's literally the same fight. You have to do like, I don't know what, 6-7 times.
The final book of that, we were in the middle of it, and I realized I didn't have the equipment to properly run it. And you guys were in the middle of a combat, and Capron looks at me and says, "What the fuck are we doing?" Like round 4 of combat, and like 2 characters are at negative hit points, another person's gotten confused, and Capron's just like, "I'm done. I hate this." I'm like, okay, well, you want to just run Kingmaker? You want me to play that, run that? He's like, yes, please. I agree with Indigo Dragon really hard here. Like, people that would come to the table with a spreadsheet, I'm like, you can do that. Just don't let me know you're doing that. Don't fucking let me know you're doing that, because there's things I'm going to pop onto the scene like, hey, this character's going to offer you this build, or this character's going to offer you this feat or this class if you want to, blah, blah, blah. Coming to the table with a fucking spreadsheet and to show it off to the DM, it's like, okay, well, now I know who the target is.
I had a player do that to me once, where he came in with the whole spreadsheet and everything. It was beautiful. And then, like, 2 levels later, I hit him with a curveball of a storyline plot, and then suddenly he goes, well, my entire plan just went right out the window, and he's like, well, now I'm a cleric. Cool. And I'm like, that's right. You're now a cleric. And I didn't tell him to be a cleric. He's like, well, obviously I've just heard the word of God, so I'm going to go now preach it. And suddenly his barbarian, who had no wisdom and no charisma, is going, I'm taking a level of cleric now because I have been chosen by God. And I'm like, you're terrible at your job. He goes, I don't care. I'm terrible, but I'm here doing it. I'm like, that's a good choice. And then it threw off his entire plot line and all of his skills. Now, I can just keep hitting the other people at the table who go, I've planned my character out. No, you haven't, because the game hasn't gotten there yet.
There's someone in chat, looks like it's lighting up a little bit here. Shadzar says, Birthright's the biggest pile of shit about a TSR other than AD&D cross-stitch patterns.
And you're not wrong, but you're not right either.
You know, I would say that would be Planescape, which is what Monty Cook loved so much, and I did not like so much. I wanted to like it. I couldn't stand the modules. I like the idea of it, but when I read a module, I just feel like that's not right. It's like waking up in my 40s and looking in a mirror. I go, that's not right. That's all fucked up.
Honestly, I would say what beats out Planescape would have to be Dark Sun. Dark Sun was the low point for me. So,
and then Umbree's talking about Shackled City was the first original Paizo adventure path. Somewhat, yeah, but it was in the Dungeon magazine, and they can't really. I don't think they can even sell that book anymore. I think they have to like beg and suck and do all sorts of fellatio on WotC. Let's do this. Let's market this again. We can make it for 5th edition. It'll be great. And I'm pretty certain I'll do that because like everybody wants to get that fucking elusive dollar. and it wasn't bad. Shackled City was good. Age of Worms is better.
Dragon Dice is amazing. I love Dragon Dice.
I never got a chance to play with them, so
I played it. They actually still are going, and they were actually at Gen Con. SFR is what the company is now. Basically, before when TSR was getting ready to be dropped, a group of people got together, bought it, and then they were like, "Well, but we want that back now," because they were going to relaunch the line and realize, "Oh, we don't have those rights anymore." And they're like, "Nope, this is ours. We're keeping this over here," which is really nice.
I don't know quite about that defeats the purpose of playing comment, though. I mean, I know for a lot of people who are playing a game, wealth and accumulating it is the entire point of playing. But I have discovered that usually, once you are able to divorce players from the need to constantly chase after the almighty gold coin, you can actually start getting them to start paying attention to other things that are more important. And I've started experimenting with this over the years with my gamers that in my groups that by giving them what I would call an allowance. And it's like, here's enough money so that way if I nickel and dime you to death for like food, shelter, travel, you're not going to go broke. You're not going to buy any major magic items, but then again, why should you be buying major magic items? Those are things that I should be handing out to you. So once I give you the ability to have, be a minor landholder, you have wealth, suddenly you can start thinking about other things besides, man, if I don't go out and go hunt a half dozen goblins into a dumpster tomorrow, I'm not going to be able to make rent. And suddenly when they start becoming, so what is the local duke caring about? Because now they're like, well, now I care about political influence, or maybe I can build up my holdings a little bit more. Maybe I care more about. Maybe I shouldn't stab the local sheriff in the back because I need him to enforce the law of my district. But if you continue to just have your players dependent only on, I just hunt cash because I must be a murder hobo to pay for my next fix and to stay one step ahead of the debt wardens, you're just going to encourage more murder hoboing. Mm-hmm. So yes, marrying into wealth just means you've just changed the focus of the game from I'm going to go fight somebody to pay the rent to, well, my rent's paid, now what? You're moving a little bit higher up on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs now.
And I like keeping players with their heroes very poor. I really enjoy that. There's nothing more that I like than like giving a character a malady and like, no, this is not going to be solved by a simple cure disease. You're going to need to spend this much money to do this. And then maybe drip feed up to that amount over the next couple of hours of game time. And maybe by the end of the adventure, they've got a cure available, but there's not going to be much money left except for beer.
Right.
Sorry, kids. Got adventure tomorrow. Better go mine those goblin necks.
Yep. I understand that. For some people, it works. For me, it doesn't, and I admit that. But then again, I'm also the same kind of player who, if I'm in that situation, you better believe I'm going to be looking for every weaselly little way to sneak in and create my own sustainable income, create my own organization, create my own minions who are generating me cash, so that way I can worry a little bit less about it.
And well, and truthfully, you talk about being married. I myself have set and screwed up basically, and I decided to go between. I had some boots of big step right between two ogres. They were flanking me. I went in the middle. Yeah, Bruce giggled with glee when I did that.
Was that in the middle of the third part of Rise of the Rune Lords that turned into Deliverance? Yeah.
Yep.
That is probably the Nicholas Logue wrote this module called, I could go get it, it's in the other room, but basically the players come across a farmhouse inhabited by ogres. And it turns into Deliverance with ogre penis.
Well, yeah. In basically, I just got walloped. But the thing is that real hastily, I wrote out a will. So, and Bruce loved it because I sat there real quickly, just kind of wrote it out on a scratch piece of paper and pushed it over to him and whatnot. So, I see your wife. Yes. Are we going to get a puppy? Here, Rock. Here, please.
Is there a puppy in your chat?
We're gonna get a Rocky.
What type of doggy is that?
He is a Corgi Catalog mix.
He looks like a little rat terrier.
Oh no, he is built fully like a Corgi. Okay.
The puppet.
The puppet. Come here, puppet. And this is Puddles.
Hey, Ashley. I forgot. John Leah was your old character name.
Yes, that was her old character name. Where'd the mama? Where'd the mama go? Oh my goodness.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, Indigo Dragon, I really agree with that. Because before,
Hey, there you go.
like,
We have more of those.
I gotta say that, like, in the early 90s, like, God, I hate using the word like. In the early 90s, we had the invasion of goth people into gaming stores, which I was 16 years old at the time, and I could not afford goth clothing. Therefore, I did not play Vampire the Masquerade because all the people that were playing it wore black. Complete black. And then you had Vampire kind of bring in a new demographic into gaming, which was basically you did have like the occasional wife that would play D&D, but Vampire, Werewolf, and Mage brought young women into the hobby, and it was the first real test if we could have a hobby that would have 70% men and 30% women. Because at the time, it was still like 90-10, 95-5. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. And it was just
like,
go ahead.
Yeah, it's like our Saturday night game now. It's equaled up. We have just as many women as we do men at the table.
For a while with you, I had married couples. I was the only person not married, and the wives and husbands played together, which with Randy and that was not fun. I mean, she's a very nice person, and she needs to be able to play with a D&D guy that wants to go lockpicking and like stealing shit, and not on a grand adventure to go throw this ring in a volcano. She's not that girl. No. But the hobby changed the hobby change happened before WotC bought in '97. Before they bought TSR, because we had women as a buying demographic now. They were buying the hardcovers of Magic, of Mage the Ascension. They were buying the Vampire the Masquerade. And they were invading the conventions, which, like, you would still have dudes with Avalon Hill games with chits, not miniatures, chits, cardboard pieces pushing on a fucking board. And
I still have a mountain of those things, and I still use them. So
I'm not bitching about them. I'm saying that was the like 1990s. You had those games come out in mass, low budget, and they were fun atypically, but these guys would still be coming to like the 1990s conventions, and they were upset that this new demographic was there ruining the con. And as much as I want to be like, God damn it, those kids are ruining our shit. No. You got to make a way to make your game sexy and fun. But AD&D Second Ed came out in '88, and then for 10, 12 years, it was out. And I don't remember a lot of girls playing our game. We did have ladies play it, but they were atypically married to a guy at the table. But the vampire, the White Wolf gamers were typically our age, and they were there with an agenda. They had a character build they wanted to make. Like, one girl wanted to be Laura Croft, another girl wanted to be a very powerful Tremere, another girl, it was just weird because you didn't have that desire to build a good character in the Second Ed D&D days. Well, now when they started running for when Diablo 2 came out, right before the release, they had the books, right? And we talked about that at the start of the video. We had some girls come to the table and say, we want to play these books. Yeah, that's great, because I have those. Let's go. And it was weird because that was like the dawn of the build. I don't remember second edition games having builds for characters. You could have a build for a fighter or for a wizard, not really cleric or rogue because, anyway, the system wasn't good for supporting them. The game was built around magic and fighters, and that's it. Oh, you're a cleric? Well, you just turn undead, and we might heal up later. Fuck it.
Okay, that comment about how I want my players to create organizations, we were doing that back in second edition. It's called, hey, I go out there and actually talk to my GM and talk to my NPCs and recruit my minions. Suddenly, I have people. You say, like, and I go to this idea of storytelling doesn't actually exist, in this early day era. Like, bullshit. Every last one of us who played a character, who gave ourselves a name, who gave us a care about where we are, what was going on in the story, yeah, we gave a shit. So when this terrifying, blasphemous game called the Storyteller Engines came rolling in and suddenly told us that maybe there's more to it than just sitting in a dank, dark hallway and walking 5 feet, spend 20 minutes so you can roll to search for your traps, and then move 10 more feet so you can now look for the next set of traps, then move 10 more feet, go fight some orcs in a thing, get some treasure. That was the game. Guess what? Gaming evolved. Some of us don't want to spend 15 weeks in a dank, dark fucking basement all goddamn day. Some of us want to be out there, and I don't know, I want to actually maybe go out and build a castle. We had books for that. I guess we don't fucking do that. Or do we? Oh, we're wasting time from playing the game. What do you mean? The game of roll initiative, move 10 feet. I make my 5-foot step. I roll. Whoop-de-fucking do. If that's all you want, go play a fucking board game.
Well, here's
if you're going to play a character, play a character. Be a person with a personality. I'm sorry that women came in and brought story to your board game, to your over-glorified board game. I'm sorry that moving around a little square figure on a square board and then going to go hit your fucking generic fill in the blank sack of rice until the sack of rice dies. So that way you could get your obligatory 1d6 gold pieces and your +2 stick. Woo! Good for you! Here's your burlap sack. You can now wear that around. Now you've got some fucking armor on. Woo! No. Fuck that shit. Fuck that. Gaming has evolved from the days when Guy Gax was a brainless little moron in the 70s and wrote a shitty game to go with his shitty war game. Gaming has evolved. Enjoy it.
I'm just going to segue onto something. Garrett, maybe Blaine, you remember there was a D&D wizard that was in our campaign, Bilius Maximus.
Republic War Wizard.
Yeah, dude was like played by Bill Helmblocker, who's now sadly gone, but Bill would scream this aloud at this Beyond Hobbies and Games in downtown Decatur all the time. Buy my magic cards, and then he'd get to the D&D table and be like, "This is not rocket science. I'm going to describe this game for you very quickly. You walk down the corridor, you find the monsters." You kill the monsters. You kill them. You kill the monsters. Dead.
That is...
And then you take the treasure and you get the experience points and you continue on. This is not rocket science. Fourth graders play this game.
And it was joy to have that because he kind of brought that back to a game store that at the time was lost in just GMs fumbling to get a game going. And Blaine is bitching about a board game, which, hey, do you guys want to play a board game? And I have like 10 people. Yeah, I'll play. And we played campaigns to like 10th, 12th level that did have overarching stories, but the majority of our games were set preparing for a dungeon or being inside the dungeon. We did have like organizations because there were third party and primary books for D&D second ed that talked about this, and you could occasionally find a first edition or somebody to talk to you about how to do this with the game, because we didn't have real good subsystems at the time. But Blaine, I got to give Blaine credit because, like, back then we really didn't foray into that before third ed came around. We didn't, and
I did. My group must have been the anomaly. Must have been the weird freak because this is back in second, and we were the ones who were constantly going, well, how are we going to fund a castle? How are we going to build an army to go fight the Dark Lord? How are we going to get the logistics to pay everything we need to be able to raise an army? You can't just go, well, I roll into town, and then I roll my diplomacy check. I rolled a 12. And that with my bonuses equals a good number. So please, all of you peasants, pick up your sticks and rocks and go form behind me. So we shall go off to go fight the Dark Lord now. And the militia, yay! No, fuck that. I mean, sometimes you want to put some more effort. Maybe I want to have my militia not be a bunch of idiots. Maybe I want them to actually have gear. That requires equipment. Do I play a whole wonderful game of DM, may I please have this coolness stuff? Or I could put in the actual legwork and actually do it. I can actually spend the time invested into it. I can actually work on making something useful. But unfortunately, most people just look at the game and go, game simple. Fighter hit things with rock until dead. Okay, ranger shoot with arrow till dead. Wizard cast spell until dead. Okay, that's all we do. And the game is very, very about that. And that's why I'm kind of glad things have slowly improved, far too slowly, and the game is still too brainless. And doesn't give you enough subsystems to be able to actually do anything besides walk through a dank, dark basement and go hit a poor hobo who's just like going, please don't hit me, this is my treasure. Give me my treasure. That's my treasure now.
Well, I'm not going to disagree. I'm not going to tell people how to play a game. like if you're not playing in a deep dark dungeon that smells like ass and solid dorm rooms, you're playing wrong. I'm not going to say that. Okay, what you do with your table, if you want to have dungeons and discussions, it's completely okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to get upset. You know, if you want to buy the new Strixhaven or other 5e shit, that that's cool. That really is. What you do at your table is your own business. And I like the idea of having the players working for a faction or an organization. I think that's a really important way to bring the players to a new item on their checklist. We got to do this. Now we got to do this. Now we got to do this. And you give them all these various things to do. And as a DM, I'm like, what are you guys doing? You've got 10 fucking mini quests or whatever you want to call them, 10 agenda items. Which one are you going to start working on now? Where are you going to go? Who are you going to talk to? And as a DM, I like to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's really important as a DM that you should do that. Because if not, you're just, okay, you make it into the next room and you see a Minotaur on a throne, he gets up, roll for initiative. Now, let's say that if you're new to the hobby, this is not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
Lombardo gaming, which is the dungeon crawl, is all right. It really is. I like more choices. I like expansive travel. I love hex crawls.
I like jumping off the rails. That's for me. So
I like Kingmaker. I like going on a hex crawl, and this area has been cleared. This is now part of our country or part of our parish. This is it. This is ours. We farm money out of it every fucking quarter. That's cool. Indigo Dragon says, I think one thing you'd talk about became an Arrival 3 is the OGL, the D20 license, and how it changed the hobby. Well, we kind of talked about that a little bit with Monty, but we got sidetracked on Tolus because 664 pages of fucking joy.
yes.
And if you haven't read Tolus, I'm going to tell you that you should probably find a way to read it. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that it's good enough if you're a player or GM, you probably want to look at it because it will probably throw you in a direction that will expand your game. It's one of the few tomes that will.
Mm-hmm.
Most Dungeon Master's guides, if you actually open up the third ed or second ed or first ed DMGs, I will tell you, if you read it cover to cover, if you take good notes, you have no need to buy another hardcover for that system. You can do everything you need to within the subsystems in that book, and you can invent shit on your own with rulings, and you can handle it because you're a fucking person that has the discipline to read a hardcover DMG, which reads like a tech manual.
It did.
And I have no experience with 4th edition or 5th edition, so I'm not going to talk ill or good about them.
Yeah, 4th edition, literally, there were cards with all your powers on them, and if you didn't use them, you were lost.
I don't want to talk about that. I want to go back to 3rd ed. The start of 3rd ed, there was something that came out called the OGL. And the OGL gave everybody who played the game the authority and the ability to write for the game they loved, if that game was 3.0 or 3.5 D&D. And the OGL is still used today. You can still use it and write for 3rd ed products or 3.5 or Pathfinder. Mm-hmm. I think there's something like that, the GSL for 4th ed. I know they've got something similar to it for 5th.
It's not as free as it used to be.
Yeah.
Okay. But it gave everybody who ran the game a voice. Before broadband was across a fruited plain, and I referenced to Illinois because I was still on dial-up in 2005. Fuck that.
It's Illinois. It's garbage. I understand.
Yeah, we won't talk about J.D. Pritzker. Anyway. Piece of shit, fat fuck, motherfucker.
La, 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 la.
Sorry? Anyway.
I was trying to cover myself for your TOS shit.
Anyway. You had the ability in 3.0 to write your own module, your own campaigns. You could do your own thing, and you could make it big if it was good.
Yeah.
If people liked it, you would be hailed. Atlas Games was a early adopter of it, and they kind of fell apart because their products don't stand the test of time. Different story would be Troll Lord Games, who wrote a bunch of 3.0 and 3.5 modules, and now they've got their own version of D&D called Castles and Crusades. It's the last project that Gary Gygax worked on before his death, and it's a really good game. It's actually a really simple game. Imagine that, a D&D game that has a better flow. Just saying.
Sword and Sorcery did wonders too in that era.
Oh my God, Sword and Sword! I have their shit on my shelf right now. I have a lot of it.
I have a lot of their stuff.
Actually, Tolus is a Sword and Sorcery book.
It is.
Yeah. So you have that, and so we had all
AEG put out a lot of good books for that too.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
AEG.
Well, yeah, because like this I held up earlier.
Oh yeah,
This is
yeah. That, but
AEG.
they also have a hardcover called Steampunk. That it's probably a $200 book now.
Really?
So,
Crud.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, this
Love
book.
that.
This book retailed for
$125.
$120.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
paid $500 for it. Just to add it to the collection.
I don't think he wants to be the DM while being a player. I think he wants to interact with his players on a different level than just you hit, you crit, you got hit for this much damage. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to run a story-driven game, or if you want to run a tactical dungeon fest, it's up to you. And there's go ahead.
The thing is, I am the DM. I'm the eternal DM. I don't get to play. I'm only the guy who has to run everything. So I'm, after 20-something years of being almost exclusively the GM who has to run all of this endless, mindless combat, I want my players to do more. I want them to be more. I want them to try harder. I want them to go a step beyond, to do more than just simply be mindless. I want a barbarian who's not a drooling idiot. I want a fighter who's more than just plate, a shield, and a stick. I want a wizard who is not just a fireball thrower. I want a rogue who's not just brainlessly, out to go steal the rest of everybody else's stuff. Because after 20 years of this, you get boring. It just gets boring seeing the same tropes endless day in, day out.
I have no problem with organizational and with social play within like guilds and factions and all that. I think that's important because you need to give the players as a DM a reason to enjoy the mathematical equation on their character sheet. You need to give them a reason to enjoy Bob Platemail. Otherwise, Bob Platemail turns to Joe Platemail, son of Bob Platemail. And then you have Neil, son of Joe, son of Bob. And you just have all of these fucking retreads of the same damn character. And I don't want that.
Hide behind the pile of dead bards.
Yep.
How many of those do you have? 50.
I'm not trying to call out Chadzar here. I'm not. But Chadzar has been known to have problem with story urgency or player agency in games, and that's just something that happens. He's been a big proponent of no. We get 4 main characters: thief, rogue, or a thief, a mage, a cleric, a fighter, and you walk down a corridor and you play. And
So tank.
you go from there.
So the only way to play the game is tank, DPS, healer, ranged combat guy. Cool.
Or stealth.
I mean, that's kind of like. I'll guarantee you, I will buy. Like, if I had to play that, that would put me to sleep. I would be back to being 19 years old at the game room, where everyone's doing all that, and I'm painting miniatures, waiting for my turn to come up so I can just go. I move four squares forward. I roll my attack. Cool. And I'm back painting miniatures for the next 45 minutes. And I painted a lot of miniatures in those days. A lot of people's characters got pitted in the at that table, because after a while, once you know what your equation is, once you had your attack equations figured out, you just kind of sat there and waited for your turn so you can move forward. Especially if you're playing the derp beat wall and you're just waiting for the rogue to fail, so that way we all get attacked. Yay! Combat. Whoa. Tell me how much damage I took. All right. Paint. It's my turn. Fireball. Paint. There we go.
I hate the style of combat for turn-based games. I've been bitten by the bug. I've played Hackmaster 5th Edition. I'm writing a new game. You've seen part of it, Blaine, and I can't get into. I run Pathfinder still turn-based, but I can't wait to start running the game the way I want to run it. Go ahead.
I'm honestly like, if I could just convince my group to not play Pathfinder first or second, I would in a heartbeat. But it's the game. Everyone wants to play it. So that's what we're running.
Yeah.
So as the guy who has to run everything, I can say I want to run something different all I want, and I know it's just going to be a dumpster fire until everyone goes, nah, we just want to play Dungeons & Dragons. Cool. I guess that's what we're playing. Paint.
Well, see, we were playing Exalted for a while, and now we've gone on to we're playing Chaos Space Marines, and out of Death Watch. So yeah.
Indigo Dragon has a spicy comment. Astonishing Sorcerers and Swordsmen of Hyperborea has the best designed and well thought out classes of the entire OSR. That's pretty impressive. And Shadzar, I don't know if you're talking about us in the panel or the chat. Sorry about that. Cal Verani is being the most, I guess you say he's mixing up with the entire chat there. It's nice. Glenn's on Friday nights at Tinkar streams. Yep. Glenn loves ass. He loves ass. Everybody should love ass. Yeah, he released a Full Mystara guidebook. Okay, so I don't mind tactical games where you're in a dungeon or you're in a nasty situation. I really think you have to mix it up as a GM and throw different scenarios to your players because you want them to have and I know Shadzar is going to be probably spinning up wherever he's at in Carolinas. I think your characters have to have a good story. I think your characters have to have a good fucking hair-raising experience that you actually think they're going to die. They're in danger. They are in peril. And that way, when those two players are seeing each other for the first time 2 or 3 years down the road, hey, man, remember when we were at the table and we were at the Thieves Guild and we got attacked or ambushed and you almost died because an alchemist planted a bomb in your asshole on a natural 20? And you have things like that. I think the game needs to have just some sort of magic to it that when the DM is talking, his players are going to enjoy themselves. They can be at the table painting miniatures. I prefer them to. That's like the one distraction I don't mind players doing at the table. But when they're on the fucking phone, liking on Facebook or on iFunny, it's really like you're not in the game. You're just waiting for your turn. You're burning time. This is not a whole lot of load for you. You could be home playing Champions of Mystara, and you'd be just as happy on your emulator. That'd be fine. But you're here with us because you want to be social. I don't see you being social. You're just liking shit on Facebook. And I hate that. But I'm a big fan of putting characters in a situation where the players talk about it later. And Garrett, I don't know, like, I hope I was that DM for you back then. I hope that go ahead.
I will say this. There's a reason that every game at that time you ran
was always
had
full.
had a waiting list, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm just going to say that. And it's the same thing like when I turned around and did, I know they were talking about the 3035 WoW, World of Warcraft RPG. There's a reason I had 11 people set at my table. I mean, it's just, it's the story, it's the mystique. It's, you have to do something to want them. It's like if you want to think of it in business, you always want to have them come back. Leave them wanting more. Whether it's a restaurant, even a movie, or a TV show, you always want to give them just enough that they
Make
want
them
to
wanna
keep
come
coming
back.
back. Exactly, and I think that's truthfully what especially newer DMs, because I had this issue too when I was a newer DM. It was I had everything plotted in my brain, boom, 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 until this character over here goes, well, I don't want to go there. I want to go here, and then the rest of the party is like, yeah, I want to go there too. Or as you're describing something, as easy as black uh, a black orc arrow stuck in a tree. And it turns into 25 minutes of them trying to analyze an arrow that has been grown over on a tree and it's been there for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's there are things that just, even when you're just explaining it, that just grabs their attention and they just latch onto it. Oh, is this a fly hook? Or, you walk into a town with a whole bunch of kids who are crying about their pet that's missing. His name is Fluffy.
And
And
now
you
you
go
got a
out,
plot. You got a story.
and
Go.
then you go out into the woods. You kill an owlbear. After you kill the owlbear, you find that he has a collar around his neck that says Fluffy. Then you have to go back and explain to the kids, why is Fluffy dead? The first question should be, why in the hell did they have a owlbear to begin with as a pet? But still, it's the plot hooks. If you want to do the full on tactical type game, if you want to do the murder hobo hack and slash, we're just gonna blow everything up. Truthfully, if you want to play that kind of game,
You're more than
cool.
welcome to.
Yes,
Just tell me
you
ahead of
definitely
time.
can.
Just tell me ahead of time so I know if I want to show up or not for that one.
Or you make it completely, an evil campaign. There's a way too. If you've got a bunch of players that want to do this, fine. Boom. Their alignment has to be evil. My personal favorite was I had someone who was playing a true neutral druid. True neutral is like the hardest thing to play. And the way he did it, for every person that the party killed, or monster, entity, whatever, that they killed, when he got back to town, he would plant a tree. And he used that as the startup of, this is the new Druid's Grove. So he was not only playing the alignment, but he was playing into his character.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's about getting things like that for them to figure that out. An evil campaign, or even play a monster campaign where everyone's monster. I've done campaigns before in 3.5 where I had a table of, and some of them were splat book stuff that I found on the internet, homebrew. I fully admit it. But where the players rolled, and then that was what they got for their race. One of them wound up getting because I found stats for it and everything else, a Smurf. And it wound up being the greatest thing ever because it was a Smurf monk.
Pixie swashbuckler.
Yeah, I mean, and if you want to, spice things up, there are ways to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually, roll, if you don't believe it. I know there was a couple of them last night in it that was talking about that they don't believe in resing the character. Awesome. No resurrections. Cool. Reincarnate them.
That's what we do, is reincarnate everyone.
Yeah, reincarnate, because then you wind up with a completely different character. The stats get thrown all to hell.
It's beautiful.
And it can be more fun because they're trying to figure out how to do things in the new body.
I know. I've actually spent the last 2 sessions killing the same player twice and having him be reincarnated twice because we won't. He's like, please just resurrect me. No, reincarnate. No, it's been fun. But he's also the one who's stupid and walks into all the traps. It's great. So.
We had a character named Jimmy in our second ed Springfield game, and that poor Jimmy, he would go to the D&D table with 5 characters rolled up at the start of the game. I knew what he did Friday night. He rolled up fucking characters. That's what that fucker did. And maybe not rolled up. Maybe he just CMP'd, all their ability scores. I didn't really care. I really did not. First off, second edition D&D, you didn't get a lot of bonuses, so you had like 15 or 17 in the stat. And his rolls were never that good. He was a 12 or 13 guy. So we played, and he would usually die 3-4 times. He'd have one character that make it. He might get a level. And this was back when, I forced every player, you start at level 1. You start at no, you're not starting with the party. You start at level 1, and it's weird because if you do that in a second ed or first ed game, you can do that, and you can actually have that character survive, and he can live to tell the tale. And he's like, I was a torchbearer, but now I've grown up and I'm almost 5th level, and he can do stuff. But
not so much.
Go ahead.
Not so much anymore, but yeah, I understand.
And nowadays in Pathfinder 3.0, 4.0, 5, as I call WotC editions of D&D, you cannot really do that. You can't have that character, even if he's a cohort or a hanger-on or just one of your flock from leadership. You can't really have him do that. He's going to die. He's going to get butchered by a random encounter owlbear.
And Bruce has proven this.
I didn't
quite a few times. No. You've proven it quite a few times.
But I got to say that that's just how it is. And we're at the 90-minute mark. I'll go for about another half hour. But okay. I wanted to talk about the game because I wanted to talk about at the birth of 3.0, what kind of happened and how it affected our game tables. Blaine, what happened after 3rd ed for you? After 3rd ed up to 3.5.
Honestly, the game, for me, it was just an engine change because pre-3rd edition, we played a lot of different engines. We played West End Games' D6 engine. We played I know. It is it is still my holy grail game, and I would love to play more of that, but nobody plays that game anymore because WotC ruined Star Wars with D20 Star Wars because obviously I'm a level 20 Jedi. Bullshit. Fuck you. So I played a lot of storyteller games, and I played Legend of the Five Rings, so I'm used to the John Wick school of assholeness. And so when I ran with assholes. It is asshole genuine grade A things, and then we all went, hey, this WotC game is pretty fucking good. So we all changed over to it, and then we kept on going. And then suddenly, all the games that I wanted to keep running, aka Star Wars, Legend of the Five Rings, well, hey, look, they all got ported over to D20. Oh, hey, look, now I can go bring all my L5R books and samurai shit into my game. Oh, cool. Now I can grab this and pull it into my game. So what actually happened was, third edition became this monstrous like grab bag thing, and as more books got released, I'm like, oh sweet, World War II got thrown into here. Oh cool, steampunk got thrown into here. Cool, World of Warcraft got thrown into here. This is a cool part. I could actually cherry pick and keep bringing more pieces into it, and my group and my story and my game kept on improving because I was pulling in familiar shit, and I could suddenly use 10 years of books, 20 years of books, and kept on being able to resource them and go, well, okay, so what does I know there's a book on D20 mecha, so what does Gear Krieg and work with World War II? How can I adopt that into a steampunk thing to make a really cool golem that I can go steal from this D20 book and go steal from another book and then go steal from this other book and then reference this L5R book, and then suddenly, bam, I've got a cool campaign and it's full of really neat things, and now players can do really cool shit. But at the core of it all, there's still this little John Wick asshole in the background going, if you step out of line, I will fucking kill you. And I will have fun doing it, and I will make sure it looks really cool. It'll look cool when it happens. And it's all about setting up this really cool trap. It's no longer simply a hex board. You're now playing Go. It's little pieces, and the players are working with it, and they walk into this trap that they've created for themselves. And when it snaps shut on them, and there's this big bloody fountain of death that happens, it's wonderful. It's glorious. And that's what third edition did for me.
Dragons like the 3E and T20 license sucked the creativity out of the industry with homogenization. I don't think it came. I don't think that really happened. I think we had a lot of bloat on the store shelves, and we saw the cream rise to the top. Like,
go ahead.
There
was a lot of bloat.
I mean, there was a group that I think when Bruce first started running up here, and it was me, a guy, his girlfriend, and I can't remember. I think it was like one or two kids.
You talking about the guy that was a Steelers fan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And literally every week he would buy a new book and want to change his character every single week.
Oh God, no.
And
every week he bought a new book. Every week. It was great. That store loved him.
Oh yeah. Bruce made that store a lot of money.
I helped them push probably two pallets of D20 books off that curb.
Yeah, easily.
And
but anyways, but you know, we're talking about the OGL. You know, you're talking about everything. You know, and you know, it almost became kind of like GURPS.
Yeah,
it did become GURPS, but less math.
And yeah, it would. Wow. Yeah, exactly, with less math. I mean, you know, we had some crazy GURPS games where you could do, you know, you could mix Star Wars with Star Trek. And so then we had somebody say, "Oh, I want to play a Vulcan Jedi." That was like the worst idea ever. So guess what he had to do? He had to play a Klingon Jedi first.
Ugh. God, no.
Took every bad thing he could. You know, he was one-eyed, hunchback, albino. You know.
Wait. Was this the character that I think it was?
No, this was before I met you. I've told you this story before.
Yeah, wasn't this the guy that lived in the condos of Peoria?
No.
Okay.
Somebody else.
Because he plays a really good Hackmaster game, and Hackmaster is defined by what perks you roll and what drawbacks you roll.
Yeah,
and
GURPS is like that also.
You can be a no armed fighter in Hackmaster. Good luck.
Just attach the swords into where his arms were at.
Yeah.
Ah!
Spin around, Bob. Spin around.
Somebody puts a rope around his feet and just pulls.
Yep.
But no, But I mean, and essentially, if you want to think about it, with all the D20 and how the OGL, Open Gaming License and everything, it literally took D&D into the realm of GURPS, into the realm of what is now Savage Worlds.
And 3E was the first edition of D&D that I could no longer carry all the books in my sea bag going to the game store. Oh yeah, fuck off. My back still hurts.
Remember my Mazul bag?
Say again?
Remember that Mazul bag I had?
Yes.
Yes.
The big black bag of doom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, I really enjoyed 3E for the fact that you could damn near do anything you wanted with it. But we kept ours mostly fantasy, mostly Necromancer Games, which is now Frog God Games, and I'm not trying to give them, too much attaboys. They've done good. They really have. And they make one of my favorite OSR games, Swords and Wizardry, which is a very concise, very, very tightly written, but very expandable game, which is how I feel all games should be. It should be you have this focus, and then you have, if you want to add to it, use these. You use this extra space on your character sheet to do that. And I like that. I like that a lot, which is why I love the OSR. The OSR is a breath of fresh air compared to the mass corporate games that are coming out. And I'll even lump Paizo's second ed Pathfinder into that, because to me that game is very formulaic.
Well, and the thing is I ran that, and I ran a module. I ran it for one session. The issue I had is that the module called for first level people characters to go in and into this town hall, and there's a fire method. So you're keeping track of your rounds. You also have to keep track of smoke inhalation. They have X amount of people they've got to get out. Their victory is based on whether they get the fire out, how many people they save, all this. I had two players down, close to dying, and it was a horrible. For me, it was a horrible experience. Now, for other people, it may be they may enjoy it. That's fine, but for me personally, yeah. But then I wound up just taking those characters, and I said, "Screw it." I followed it until they got to this tower. I said, "Oh, well, you found a crystal." I said, "Roll percentage." The person that found it rolled the percentage, whether it was going to be one color or the other. It wound up being blue. He touched the crystal, and they were transported to the realm of the Fae. Of course, blue being the winter court. So yeah, they also met the Winter Knight. I went full out with it. The Winter Knight, he had a duster and a hockey stick.
Okay.
So yeah, I full on threw Dresden in there for the Winter Knight. And it actually worked out pretty good, because him and the sorcerer started having talks about, wait, how'd you cast that? You didn't say anything, because the spell in there says that there's no verbal components and everything else. So, and of course, with Dresden, everything is verbal. So yeah, it wound up being really cool, but start off it was just like really bad. But going back to the Open Gaming License, you were talking about the bloatware, and I think we had the term splat books.
Yeah, that was like 80% of the damn store. Like when I first got there in 2006, I don't think he had a lot of 3E stuff that I saw. I was more enraptured by the collection of GURPS that he had. He had a lot of GURPS books.
Yeah,
But
you
then
did.
I started looking at the discount section, the milk crate boxes at the very
Mhm.
corner, and that entire stack there, and I thought, holy shit, there's a lot of 3.0 stuff. And that was where I discovered Troll Lord Games. They had a module I bought called Dark Druids, which it will never have a sequel to it because apparently there's copyright bullshit going on. But it's one of the guy that does El Raja Key, Rob Kuntz. Rob Kuntz's game, and you have to buy like a CD or something with all of his stuff on it to get his information. But I don't think it's sold in mass markets. I think you have to spec order it. But Rob Kuntz had written stuff for Troll Lord back in the day, back before Troll Lord brought out Castles and Crusades, which some people say isn't that great. I like CNC. Now, I haven't picked up Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea, so please forgive me. I'm getting around to it. I'll get there. I like the games, okay? You guys just understand I have a lot of these, okay? I've got a lot of figures. So, when I say I like the games, I like the games. But I think John had at the time, and we can say John because there's a lot of Johns in the world, but John had this store with so much stuff that didn't sell.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really sad. It was just like the perfect store to go to if you wanted to play a game. They had big tables that I need to get the blueprints for because that's what I need for my dining room. Yeah, I need those. They had
Those were
4x4
amazing tables.
table supports, and they were wonderful. And that store just that was like the greatest gaming environment that I can remember. Although there's other better stores out there, and I mean I mentioned Night Watch Games a lot in San Antonio. If you're in San Antonio and you're a gamer, you got to go to Night Watch Games. You just do. You have to go there. You have to look at the dogs, maybe pet them, and then you get to look around and be like, wow, they've really been all out on a gaming store. And the owners are gamers. The owners love to game. This is their retirement. This is what they're doing for retirement, which is how a game store probably should be approached. You have a military pension. You can funnel it into your dream. And that's what he's doing. But the game room had this collection of old Games Workshop miniatures, which probably are never going to ever be allowed at a table again.
Yeah.
Isn't that bullshit? You guys put out Space Dwarves. I want to play Space Dwarves. What do you mean I'm getting kicked off this forum? Fuck you. All right. Sorry, I had to Earth Dawn, take a drink. Anyway,
It's all right.
you know the sad thing is in Texas where I live, they can't sell honey brown because they don't deliver it down south here. So I have a reason to go up into Illinois to buy a case of honey brown or two.
Well, that's like there's folks here that go down south just so they can get the Yingling.
You can go to Indiana and get it. It's only 2 hours away.
Now,
Not even that.
it depends on where it is too, because around the border they've stopped selling it. You have to go further in state now.
Oh God, do you hear banjos in Indiana? I don't.
Hey, my family's
It's
originally
born
from
corn,
Indiana.
Indiana.
Right?
You guys, I know this sounds stupid. I want to do something for my 50th. I'm thinking about going over to Holiday World and then riding on the Voyage. That giant fucking wooden roller coaster they've got over there. It's not the Beast, but it's close. But it's just a thought. No, I really enjoyed this. I wanted to talk about Third Ed and how our games changed. The main thing is that like the table dynamics really changed. For me, the end result was most of my players are now my age or much younger. First edition D&D or BX is usually guys that are older than me. Nothing wrong with women playing the game, although Shadzar posted Gary Gygax's sexist ideology of why women don't game. It's in the chat, and actually, it's a quote from Gary Gygax. If you want to cancel him, get in line. There's a cancellation in process. There's a cancellation in process for Gygax. I mean, the guy said a lot of hot topics, and if you don't like that, well, I can't really help you. I mean, Jessica Price said shit that I don't like. Fucking Evil Hat Games said shit that I don't like. You don't see those guys pushing up daisies yet. I'm just saying.
No, but Evil Hat Games was escorted out of Gen Con.
What?
Oh yeah.
Wait, do tell.
For the tweets. Well, for the tweets, we were sitting at dinner. We got there Wednesday night before it started on Thursday. We got, of course I had stuff set up so Gen Con alerts in case something went on. And yeah, he got escorted, I believe off the premises.
That is funny. Which is another reason why you should not have a Twitter account. Going through the chat here.
Hey, hold on.
What?
Let me double check.
Blaine, aside from all that stuff about, how the factions and all that is not a third edition thing, which it really isn't. I don't know where it started in first edition
Yeah,
or second.
Evil Hat Productions.
Yeah, Evil Hat Productions.
Oh, anyway, what was your question?
Oh, I was asking. The start of it, I remember, was the book Den of Thieves by I think it was Rich Baker or not. It might not have been him, but there was a second edition book that taught you how, as a GM, you could run a thieves guild and how you would have the day-to-day activities go. And it was really good to bring the thief player into more of an active role at the table to where he could do stuff.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty great book. I'm not going to say anything negative about it because I've not found that. It's got about 30 pages or 40 pages of mechanics and fluff, and then it's got an adventure at the end. Got a lot of NPCs in there you can utilize. But that was like the first publication I remember that had organizations so well detailed, or an organization so well detailed, but there was probably others before that. And I just can't remember one.
I think also what you also had were the early 90s are about the same point you started seeing the D&D novels start showing up.
Yeah.
So I know with my group, the reason why we were all so just ready to go build, do something more than just what we were, was because we all read the Menzo Baranzan trilogy. So we all read, all these cool stories about all these really awesome adventures that have plots and all these wonderful things. So I guess we were primed by reading novels that tied into our adventures, that we could sit down and go, this is what the stat block for X character is. We knew what to expect. So we started to get this idea in our head of, okay, I'm a 5th level character. I should be at about, this is what I should start thinking about what I can do. So therefore we start trying to map out where we were. So as the game evolved and as the player's option books arrived for 2nd edition, which did change the game immensely, and also primed us for when we transitioned from 2nd to 3rd, it was a smooth transition. It was no major hiccups because, well, as you mentioned early on, we had the conversion book. So we had the book that said, hey, this is how you convert. We already had ideas of, okay, this is how we change our class. These are some of our new options. This is how you can make a fighter more interesting. This is how you can make a rogue more interesting. This is how to make human more interesting. This is how to make the skills more interesting. This is how we can throw proficiencies out the window and start evolving. We were heading towards something that was more interesting. We were like, the novels, the books, the rules were evolving. Everything was pushing us so that way when 3rd finally arrived, well, we were ready. we just rolled seamlessly and smoothly right straight over into it, and our games and our stories just the campaigns, the worlds that we were playing in, just rolled right on into it, and we didn't even notice because we had like a 2-week moment of stopping and listening to William McFall tell us, between Mike Wallace and William McFall trying to explain us how to actually play this new game engine, and some of us who had ordered the book like, we already know, and everybody else going, no, you don't. We don't. And then we're like, okay, fine. And then so there was like 2-3 weeks of us going, rules hard, how do? And then suddenly it all clicked, and now we were no longer in neutral, we were in first gear, and we were rolling. And from that point forward, it was just a nonstop, the game changed. It was no longer what we were playing, but we had already long ago abandoned bland by the point that when we hit first gear for third, we had long since changed engines. We had changed vehicles entirely by that point.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I looked that up. It was actually the Gaming Goat Game CEO that was kicked. I apologize.
God damn it. Yep, that was on Thursday.
Yeah.
It was on the Thursday before the entire convention started up. And
Yep.
Gaming Goat had no reason to get booted from the convention. They have a Kickstarter that has a frog on the back that people thought, oh my God, that's a white supreme pizza. And he's got the circle game going on, and he's got that going on. And they're like, oh my God, that's terrible. And that was all the hubbub. But they actually booted this guy out of the convention after he spent $40,000 to move equipment and stuff to go sell at Gen Con. And he kind of got fucked. I mean, he really got the big chicken dinner on that. He's I don't know what to say. Like, I'm sorry, dude. But that's Gen Con nowadays. That's the people that run that convention. And that's why, as much as you might enjoy it, Garrett, I don't want to go to Gen Con. I'm not even really big on Dragon Con anymore. I'll go there, but I'd rather go to North Texas or Game Hole or some other small convention, Egyptian Campaign, or you guys still do the convention up at Peoria?
Nope.
Oh no, that's long dead.
That's been that died 3 years after the game room closed.
God damn it.
Yeah, without them running it.
Well, the thing is that there were some things that happened. We had other people who were from the store who tried to do it. They did a couple of them. Boom. It was very well executed, but it came down to money.
Okay.
For renting the venue and everything else. So, but I mean, doing a convention like that is not cheap.
No, it's not. You got to put money out before you can make $1 off admission. I want to wrap up here because we did 2 hours like I wanted. And I'm sorry that I started a few minutes late, but I had to navigate traffic. Blaine, what do you have going on in the next couple of weeks?
Beyond running 2 campaigns and all the other prep work, not much.
Well, I was wanting to know what you were doing on Saturday the 6th.
I am probably working and GMing.
Okay.
Hey, I'm on the road. I can't help it. Sorry.
Did you get your CDL?
I've almost got that finished up. I'm just doing small commercial vehicles right now. It's like vans and stuff. So I'm just doing courier work right now.
Okay. That's fine. If you have a good internet connection, and most of you guys, this is for the chat that's here, this is for people that watch this and later on. If you're looking about trying to find a game, I run a modified 3.x game, which basically is Pathfinder. If you need help, message me on my Discord. We need a 5th level player or a 5th level character out of the core rulebook. Core rulebook for 3.0, 3.5, or Pathfinder. We will get you to where you fit the campaign. We need
That would be
players,
fun.
and it's the middle of an invasion. I'm smushing some adventure path ideas together, and my current players that I have, one of them is kind of like really not into it. I think he knows he's going to be at some point not able to play, so he's hanging out and getting a soak of as a social. He's soaking in all the social time he gets because he's getting ready to be a dad. But yeah,
In his voice.
yeah. And I feel so sorry for him, but like I'm proud of him too. Like, hey, you're gonna have a little girl, congrats, But you're probably not gonna see me at game for much, You're gonna have to do other stuff.
That's a good reason.
Yeah, that family first is a big thing. But if you guys want to, and it goes for the chat, it goes for my panel. I run every 3 weeks. I run basically a Pathfinder game that's out of the core rulebook. I don't like having a lot of options out there outside of that. And if you don't mind playing, I need a 5th level player.
If I have
for you.
If I have it free, I would love to, but I have no idea what my schedule is from one week to the next. So,
hey, Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective shows up right as I'm getting ready to shut her down. Frog somebody, the ultimate evil. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Jin John is turning the freaking frogs gay.
Yeah, I read that voice too.
That TSR Con, I don't have a lot of confidence in that entire company. As much as I don't probably disagree too much with the CEO, do I want to see him with a gaming con? No, not really. I need him to either you draw numbers or you're a public asshole like me. No, that's just a big no. Don't get the Rosy monks. Sorry, bro.
Oh,
Indigo Dragon, it was great having you on. Shadzar, I'm sorry you had to play 3.5 and I didn't like it. Andy, I will. Tommy, let me check Discord real quick. Blaine, what do you got going on in the next couple weeks? You have anything on YouTube you doing or no?
Honestly, this is the first time I've even turned on a microphone in the last 8 months. So no, I'm mostly a private person. I came on because I was invited. So
yay! Thank you.
If you invite me again, I will continue to be the heretic of the group.
Dr. during the end, yes. Blaine, I don't mind having you in the panel for this. I do want to have a kind of like a group of people that I've played with before and just kind of a social hour. I know most of us are not private individuals. We're kind of public. We have our Twitch or our YouTube stuff going on. But I'd love to have you on more because you bring a different angle than I do, and I appreciate that. We've been friends for over 10 years.
Way longer than that. So
yeah. Damn. Okay. Woo! Garrett, talk to us about your Twitch and what you got going on here in the next couple of weeks.
I don't really have a whole lot going on. You can catch me on Twitch, twitch.tv/BaronGRock. I do a little bit of everything. I do MMOs. I do survival games. Tiptoeing my little toe into the horror genre a little bit more. But it's pretty much like right now. I'm on the bandwagon of New World and whatnot. So yeah, but I do, like I said, I do a little bit of everything. My socials are all on my Twitch, so you can find them there if you want to follow me.
Do you use Facebook, Minds, Gab?
Well, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that is on my Twitch. Thank you,
Awesome.
Chad.
I'm sure I'll get mocked in the comments. I'm
It's
sure of it.
okay. If you put your head out there, yeah, you get chopped, and that's what I found out, and that's fine.
Yep.
I'm going to tell everybody that I appreciate the group of people that came in to watch this. We will be doing this again next Thursday night, about 7:30, 7:45 CST. Hopefully 7:30. Sorry if I'm late, but Baron G-Rock, you want to stream it over on Twitch like what you did tonight?
Oh yeah, we can do that.
Fantastic.
I actually figured out how I can actually do this, and it actually looks decent. So
Sweet. Okay. Well, Blaine and Garrett, I appreciate you guys coming on. Chat, without you, there would be just us three talking to the walls. So appreciate you being in here.
definitely.
Everybody,
Yeah.
we will see you, if not tomorrow, it'll be next week. Cal, appreciate you stopping in. I'll see you in the LOM chats and gatekeepers, my friend. Everybody be well, and I will end the broadcast now.
Take care.